Hello YouTube, I'm Toby. Now today we have a very special project. We're actually taking a look at a somewhat cheap Chinese bundle. Now before we get into the actual parts of this system, I just want to say that I've been very excited about this build. Been waiting a month and a half for all the components and I've finally managed to get them all. Now it goes without saying that this is a semi-budget gaming PC. I think the total came down to just under $1,000 or something like that. Although I'm not entirely sure about the exchange rate, so I'll put the actual price somewhere down below. The board itself is an old, well, it's actually not old, it's actually a fairly new revision of what should be an old socket. It's the socket 2011. Now this particular board came with a Xeon 2650 V2 in it. It's a octa-core with 16 threads and it's clocked at, well, I believe it's 2.5 gigahertz. Furthermore, with the board came 4 sticks of ECC DDR3 RAM. Got a total of 32 gigabytes, which is quite awesome. Now the coolest part about this board is that it supports M.2 PCIe SSDs, and we have 2 of these slots. I'll only be filling one, as you can see, with a 128 gigabyte SSD. This is my boot drive. And obviously I've already tested it, so there's already Windows on it. Now the cooler on here did not come with the board. I purchased this on the side and it keeps the CPU fairly cool. Furthermore, in this build I decided to get some RGB in here. I have 3 fans, they're 120mm and they came with an LED strip. Also there is a controller. I'm going to run into some issues with this, but I'll explain that in the end of the video. The power supply in the system is I can't really remember the brand, but it's 700 watts and it's semi-modular. The graphics card is an AMD Radeon RX590 with 8 gigabytes of I believe it's DDR5 VRAM. I haven't really done too much with the RX line of graphics cards, so I'm actually very excited to see what this card is supposed to do. From what I know, it should be somewhere between GTX 1060 and 1070 performance-wise. Those are the parts in the system, so let's go into the build and the benchmarks and I'll get back to you in the end of the video. Well, there you have it. The benchmarks actually went very well. Now, the only times that I actually saw stutter was when I had fraps running, so yeah. I did have some issues with this build. The airflow in this case is horrible. If I had known this, I would have chosen another case. There's room for 2 fans really in the front. I did manage to get 3 in there, but I had to drill holes in the front to ensure enough airflow for the graphics card since it seemed to thermal throttle every now and then. It still gets quite toasty, but it seems to be much better now at well, controlling its own thermals. Also, the front fan screws are proprietary to this case. It has to do with the way they decided to mount the fans, but already about half of them can't tighten all the way because the threads in the screw holes have stripped a little bit. Also, if you noticed in the Resident Evil 6 benchmarking tool, it said 60 FPS in the upper left corner. This is because I used fraps to to record it. I did run it before, and that's when the score was from. Did not get the score when I had fraps running and recording in the background because it was limited to 60 FPS. So that's why that says 60 FPS. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching.